We are back on Morning Line. Holly Ladd is with us this morning, taking your phone call, 737-7587. She told me during the break, it's kind of cool. There's a lot of health and wellness coaches out there, and you've been one for
almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years now, and she has clients. Sometimes it's hard differentiating, you know, can someone just put out a shingle and say they're a health and wellness coach for the heck of it? It's not like being a medical doctor where you have to have a license. But you can get certified, and you just did get certified.
I did.
By the National Medical Board of Examiners, right?
Yep.
Certification. You had to take a big test for this.
Yep, like a national board exam, like you would as a doctor or a nurse or an attorney or anything that's a national board. You know.
So there's something more to look at when you select someone to work with, that maybe they have a bit more qualifications, so they had to pass some vetting. Well,
yeah, it shows that you understand the process of coaching, that you understand basic health things, and so you become a national board certified health and wellness coach, which is what you want to look for looking for a health coach.
Is that something you'll update as years go by? Do you have to go back? Okay, that's very cool, so you stay up to speed with everything. All right, let's take a call from Ann. Like I said, the lines are open if you want to jump in. Questions about diet, lifestyle, all of that. It's real broad, but it's got to be something on your mind. Let's go to Ann. Hi, Ann.
Good morning. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
First is an exercise question, and then I have a diet question. I've recently been told I need knuckle replacements in both hands, and so my doctor has stopped my yoga, and I'm having trouble finding yoga that I can take where the emphasis is not on my hands. And my second question has to do with lauricidin or coconut oil. I started taking the supplement lauricidin, and I'm noticing very much a difference in 3 different types of arthritis, fibromyalgia, and my lupus symptoms. So I'm wondering how putting more coconut oil into my diet will also impact my general health.
All right, thanks. Great calls. Let's see what we can. We want to do one at a time there. You want to hit the nut? That's, gosh, must be painful. It's knuckle replacement. I didn't even know they can do that. So she can't do yoga anymore, and you know, yoga sometimes your hands. What do you suggest as a possible alternative to yoga type exercise, which obviously is not heavy impact? Or she probably wasn't doing the heavy impact stuff.
Right, but even so, there's a lot of pressure. And first of all, I just want to convey my empathy to deal with knuckles like that. That must be awful. So best of luck to you. I do know that there is chair yoga for older folks. So
I've seen that at the Donaldson Y. They do it, I think. And yeah, that chair yoga.
Chair yoga would be something that you could look into. And then a little bit differently from yoga, you could do some Tai Chi, or you could do some Qigong, which are both sort of meditative. You may not get the same kind of workout as you would in yoga, but it's the same sort of mental presence and breathing and slow movements and stuff that you might be able to do that doesn't involve putting pressure on your hands. So those might be some alternatives. If you can walk, you know, I always recommend walking as well as a good form of movement.
Good, easy, brisk walk. What do you think about pool work?
Yeah, pool work is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I just always think for people who have joints, or even when I'm a little sore from something I've done, and I want to get exercise, but I don't feel like going for a run or hitting the exercise bike, I just jump in the pool. And I'm a lousy swimmer, so just a handful of laps exhausts me because I'm not very good.
And yeah, you don't even do laps.
Have to do laps.
You can just do like running in place or walking through the water.
Get a kickboard or something, or you can wear one of those vests where you're just kind of floating through and moving. Any of that, and for any age, I see people do it all the time in the pool. All right, so as far as some of these supplements, which is great, I love talking to you about. I'm not as familiar with lauricidin. I know you may not either. What is that something that can help? Or she said she was having that and then tried coconut oil as well.
Right. So I'm not really familiar with lauricidin as a supplement, and I'm not an expert on supplements at all. That's not my jam. It's beyond my scope of practice. Really, that would be a practitioner question. But coconut oil in general. Does have some anti-inflammatory properties and antifungal, antimicrobial. So coconut oil is very good for us, but you don't want to overdo it as well.
It's still an oil.
It's a saturated fat, and it's not bad for us in moderation, but you don't want to be like eating jars full of coconut oil. But you know what she's talking about with the lupus and the arthritis and the inflammation is an inflammatory condition in her body. So right then and there, I would be like, well, you probably should eliminate, some of the more inflammatory foods, gluten and dairy and corn being 3.
Corn is something that can really
for a lot of people,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you just Google like food sensitivities or most common, corn, soy, gluten, dairy kind of come up. But you really want to address your overall, like lupus is an autoimmune disease. So research shows that most autoimmune diseases begin in the gut. So you want to see somebody, you want to read about repairing your gut and what it will take. And I think the coconut oil is a great, and the supplement she's taking, if it helps, awesome. I mean, that's the thing when I work with somebody is like, is it working? Do you feel better?
Then stick with it.
Stick with it. But don't overdo it on the coconut oil. I mean, a couple of tablespoons a day is all you want to be.
And is that true? And there are a lot of, shall I say, boutique oils out there now. You can get avocado oil, you can get coconut oil, you can get grapeseed oil. Some have higher flash points, some have a little less fat, but all of them being oils. And of course, everyone thinks of olive oil. So like, for instance, when you do a little stir-fry grill or something with some vegetables, what type of oil will you use and how much do you typically put in? What do you like?
That's a good question. I love avocado oil for high heat.
Okay, that doesn't burn as easily.
It's got a higher flash point than olive oil. It's like when I grill on the barbecue.
Yeah.
Avocado oil is what I would use.
Avocado oil, all right.
If I'm sauteing at a lower heat, I'll use olive oil. If I'm roasting vegetables in the oven, I usually use olive oil. I like ghee a lot.
What is ghee?
Ghee is clarified butter. It's from the sort of Ayurvedic Indian.
I guess I've heard of that. It's clarified, so it's it doesn't have salt in it. Is it just
it doesn't have salt, and they take all the milk solids out.
Yeah, the milk solids. It's kind of like,
it's just the fat.
Yeah, it's like if you were to melt a cube of butter and all that white stuff that comes to the top, you scoop that off, and what's left below is kind of clarified butter.
Right.
Okay, minus the salt.
Right, and that can be better for people that don't tolerate dairy. Sometimes they can tolerate ghee because all of the milk proteins are taken out, so it's a easier, cleaner form of dairy.
That's interesting. Yeah. So ghee, all right, and there's sunflower oil. I mean, really, if you go to some places, there are so many different oils out there now. But bottom line, all of these oils and fats, there's some fats that are very good. We talk about eating the fats that come from nuts.
Yeah.
All that stuff's good, but then some people think, well, it's healthy, it's nuts, and you can eat. If you're looking to watch your weight, you're going to get protein and stuff, but if you eat a ton of nuts, you're going to put on weight, right?
Maybe or maybe not. I think it depends on how you're eating them and what else you're eating in your diet. I mean, I eat a ton of nuts.
You do eat a ton?
Tons.
Really? Okay, because I mean, a lot of, I just mean nuts are fine, but I mean, isn't it like anything nuts are fatty?
They are fatty. But yes, because you don't want to eat a whole bag of walnuts. But a half a cup could be okay if you're eating everything else correctly.
Nuts are great. People just don't. And I'll tell you, I mean, just a shout out. I mean, there's a lot of places that sell nuts. You can get the best price on nuts in Trader Joe's.
Absolutely.
Trader Joe's, and other places that have great nuts too. But if you look just for prices, because nuts are expensive, and but almonds, I get Brazil nuts. What else?
Walnuts.
Walnuts, you just said, they're great. And I'm sorry, I get the plain ones all the time, but I get the lightly salted pecans. Those are so good. Damn, the thing about everything is in food, what is flavor? It is salt and fat. Period. All right, now you can get substitutes for them, but any chef will tell you true flavor, and not sweet and all that, and sour. And I know there's all different types of things in your taste buds, but salt and fat give flavor to so much. Good and bad fats.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with salt in general. Sea salt.
Sea salt's out there,
Himalayan salt is great.
Just a little bit,
that's all you need.
Yeah.
I use salt in my cooking. It's very important to bring out the flavor.
You sure know when it's not there. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
You know when it's not there. Maybe it's because, you think it's because of the way we're conditioned that we've always had it? Because I notice if I eat something, I know immediately if it needs salt. Now, I also know immediately if it's got too much salt. But I can tell right off the bat if it needs salt. And it's because it's just bland.
Yeah, and I think our palates have, we've been exposed in our lifetime.
Yeah.
We've grown up with food that's salted. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, back in the day, hundreds of years ago, they probably were used to just eating meat.
Just right.
But, meat without salt is pretty
it
tough.
is. Unless you've got a lot of fat. And even then, you need... All right, listen, let's take a break. When we come back, I just have some other new things that are out there that I want to ask you about. We can take your calls as well. 737-7587. We'll be back with Holly Ladd. She is a National Medical Board of Examiners certified health and wellness coach now. Pretty darn impressive. I would have been more nervous before the show if I had known that, but now I'm in the middle of the show, so I'm just riding it, okay? Whew, be nice to me.
I will.
We'll take a break and be back with more right after this.
No talk.
This is